I called Donald Trump a wannabe dictator, it's because he is. It's because he is. Maybe it's time for us to be a little more fierce. Because we have to ferociously push back on this. The thing that bothers a teacher more than anything is to watch a bully.
Is there something going on that we're missing?
Well, there's a couple of things. First of all, whose balls is he hiding in his cheeks?
Yeah.
That's the first question I want to know. And I don't love the way he says, fierce.
Yeah.
Tim Walz's spotless image didn't just crack. It went up in flames like a giant bonfire at a summer tailgate, burning brighter than anyone expected. Tyrus didn't come to chat or ease into the moment. He arrived ready to blow everything wide open, and he struck the match without hesitation. This wasn't a soft rant tossed out between commercial breaks. This was a full-scale takedown of Minnesota's favorite nice guy, delivered with the precision of a late-night roast that cuts deeper than it laughs. In true Gutfeld fashion, Tyrus pried open Walz's political vault like a determined raccoon with a crowbar, and what spilled out looked less like steady leadership and more like a scene deleted from Tiger King. Once the truth started pouring out, it couldn't be stopped, cornering Walz until he was sweating under the pressure.
It's because he is. Maybe it's time for us to be a little more fierce. Because we have to ferociously push back on this. The thing that bothers a teacher more than anything is to watch a bully, to watch this bully and to stop it. And when it's a child, you talk to them and you tell them why bullying's wrong. But when it's adult like Donald Trump, you bully the shit out of him back. This is a weak, cruel man that takes it out.
You could almost picture Tyrus waking up, sipping his morning coffee, scrolling through the headlines, and muttering, "That's it, clown show's over," with the kind of finality that shakes the room. When he says enough, it never sounds like a gentle suggestion. It hits like a pro wrestler stepping into the ring to call out a politician with the mic hot and the crowd roaring. The energy coming off him wasn't mild, it was explosive, and Greg Gutfeld jumped right into it with his sharp timing. On cue, Greg joked, "I haven't seen a man this nervous since Brian Stelter heard about keto." And that joke only fueled the fire even more. Tyrus brought pure fireworks, full throttle, no filter, launching into a takedown that felt like a main event match on a Saturday night. If political showdowns had weight classes, this one wouldn't just qualify, it would headline the entire card with spotlights blazing and everyone watching.
Is deeply part of it. And that's one of the, I mean, I think it goes, and you can look at the reasons why we've had this sort of dialectic over the Me Too movement.
How do you fight it?
This
I
notion
think
of
I could kick most of their.
What he's mad about is his own fault. He's mad about the image that was portrayed of him as the hunter. And who did that? You did that. We just laughed about it because the one thing you can't do is you can't front. You can't floss. Those are two key words when it comes to manhood.
If you're enjoying this takedown, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Walz tries calling for another dramatic pause for reflection. Tyrus didn't just give the man a light shove into the spotlight. He practically lifted him and body slammed him right into it, forcing every flaw to shine under the brightest glare imaginable. Suddenly, Minnesota's friendly dad next door didn't look comforting anymore. He looked like the neighbor who borrows your tools, disappears for weeks, and then somehow ends up running for office. That calm, easygoing image Walz depended on, cracked wide open like a frozen Walmart parking lot in February, split from every direction. And as Gutfeld snarked, you can throw a smile over plain mediocrity, but it still carries the same tired scent of government routine. The illusion slipped, the charm faded, and the polished exterior couldn't hide what sat underneath.
Yeah.
A teacher snatches the bully's ass up.
Yeah.
Come sit with me. That's why I never, someone's bully, oh, you can sit with me for a while. And then I would lean on him. I'd bully him back. He's not a teacher. He's not a politician. He's a creepy guy who can't remember his speeches. I don't know what the hell was in the water in that White House, or was everyone on the same bad cocaine? But Kamala can't speak. He can't speak. Biden was so high he couldn't remember anything. Like, this is literally the dumbest administration of all time. Why is he talking?
It really is the ultimate clown show. And I said this in the pod. He's a clown.
America has been sold the story of Tim Walz as the wholesome Midwestern hero, the guy mowing his lawn, waving at neighbors, and bringing potato salad to the church potluck with a friendly grin. But Tyrus took one look at that image and said, "Yeah, that's not potato salad. That's political mayo cutting straight through the charm with a single swipe." He poked through that "aw shucks" routine like it was expired deli meat that nobody should have touched in the first place, exposing how much of it felt staged. Greg Gutfeld chimed in with perfect timing, saying you could practically see the campaign team rehearsing his wave. 3 pumps, 1 nod, and just enough insincerity to slide by. To Tyrus, Walz wasn't authentic at all. He was an overcooked casserole of recycled slogans and soft, passive leadership that never quite matched the image he tried to project. The facade slipped, and the cracks were impossible to miss.
I feel bad for Elon. I would be furious if I was him. If this is who you sent to troll me?
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing wrong to get the guy from D Team to come out at Family Theater and call me names?
Yeah.
Like, Tim, I would, if they were like, "Oh, Tyrus, man, tough news cycle. Tim Walz is talking about you." I'd be like, "Oh, Timmy, I want to fight him."
Then came the first knockout punch, and Tyrus didn't hold back for a second. He tore apart the whole teacher-veteran-coach backstory and said it was a great resume, but a terrible sequel, because once Walz stepped into office, the script completely stopped matching the performance. He went from small-town dad to big government dad, the kind who grounded everyone during lockdown while still heading out for takeout like the rules didn't apply to him. Tyrus mocked the situation like it was a late-night infomercial running during the height of COVID, pointing out how people couldn't go to church but could still buy booze and scratch-offs. "Hallelujah and cheers," he joked with a sharp grin. Gutfeld jumped in with his own jab, saying only in Minnesota can someone grab whiskey at midnight but get fined for breathing too close to a pew. The contradictions didn't just show, they screamed.
Tweets, my DMs, like just one arm, and I just want to slap the. He's so weak. He brings nothing. If you were gonna go after someone man to man, hit him with a fact. Hit him with something real.
Yes.
You don't have anything. And here's the cold part. If Elon called him up and said, "Hey, Tim, you want a job?" he would take it. Because that's what spineless, he would, and when he was questioned, he was like, "I was just holding him in account. You know, I respect him, and I'm so happy to be working for X." He is the worst player on their team, and they don't mind sending him out because
They're trying to get him off the table.
Yeah.
They're putting him out early so he can't be a factor.
1 minute Walz supports something, and the next, he's suddenly against it, depending on whether CNN nods or frowns that day. Tyrus called it the circus do so lame of politics, a routine so inconsistent it could make anyone dizzy. He said Walz has done more flips than a real estate market under Biden, and he roared with the kind of energy that fills a room instantly. Gutfeld smirked and added that at this rate, Walz might as well join Cirque du Soleil. At least there he'd be paid to pretend with some consistency. Walz's backflips were so constant and so dramatic that you'd half expect him to pull a hamstring from the effort. It's that level of polished but false relatability, like target prices sitting on a Neiman Marcus salary, that drives Tyrus wild every time he sees it. This was the exact kind of political hypocrisy he devours for breakfast, and he didn't waste a single second sinking his teeth into it.
Levine, look, he has a sports coat and a zip-up sweater underneath. No man wears that.
I may have done that in the past.
Yes.
I won't now, Tyrus.
Yeah, and one day somebody's going to explain what a corporate income tax is to these people. It's not paid by this. It's not paid by the corporation. It's not like a building that goes, I've got to pay taxes. It's the workers.
Politics isn't about truth anymore. It's a full-blown theater production, and Walz plays the everyman with a rehearsed look of concern and a practiced golly gee grin that feels straight out of a children's skit. Tyrus calls it the children's magician act of governance, where Walz keeps pulling empty promises out of his hat, and somehow half the audience still claps like they're watching real magic. Gutfeld adds that instead of doves, the only things flying out are excuses, and once you spot the trick, the whole illusion crumbles fast. The pandemic made those cracks impossible to ignore. Gyms closed, liquor stores open, logic nowhere to be found. Then the riots hit, and Walz froze like a deer, trapped in a spotlight, totally unprepared. Tyrus joked that he tried fighting chaos with a garden hose, waving it around like it was a master plan. Maybe next time he should bring an actual strategy instead of relying on hopeful prayers and crossed fingers.
That's a big red flag. Whenever you meet someone and they have to give you their resume, yeah, and then as soon as they talk, you're like, that's why you gave me your resume.
Yeah, because it doesn't speak for itself.
You suck.
Yeah. It's like when people have their PhD
Yes.
on their Twitter handle. It's like, you know, this person's completely bonkers.
And their pronouns.
Yes. Are you mad, though, Tyrus, that, like, beards have been kind of co-opted by beta males like Tyler?
No, because it's like all. Wait, hold on. Watch what I say. I will f- around, stick my hand up your back, and make you my puppet.
I think I would have won. Susie would say I would have won Pennsylvania easily anyway, even if the governor ran, the real governor, not the governor from Minnesota, he's a sick puppy, that guy. That poor guy, I feel sorry for him. But
That's when Tyrus shifted into full sitcom mode, painting Walz as the neighbor who keeps promising to fix the fence, but shows up with nothing more than duct tape and a podcast about empathy. The image was so vivid that you could almost hear the theme song playing in the background as he shuffled in, all charm and no results. Greg Gutfeld cackled and added that Walz is like Mr. Rogers. If Mr. Rogers outsourced his entire neighborhood to a task force that never actually gets anything done. Every big promise, free this, expanded that, sounds noble at first, but the moment reality steps in, everything falls apart faster than wet cardboard. Minnesota didn't get the polished vision of utopia Walz liked to pitch. Instead, it ended up with a government group project where nobody remembered their assignment and everyone hoped someone else would pick up the slack. The final product wasn't progress. It was a PowerPoint filled with excuses, vague explanations, and cheerful bullet points trying to hide the chaos underneath. And with Walz at the center, the state looked less like a well-run operation and more like something held together by sheer spin and a hopeful smile.
What do you make? Whoa, you got something there?
Hold on, before we do this, man, I got to protein up. Hold on.
chug, 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 chug. Oh, he's chugging it.
I need more protein, Gutfeld. I got my protein pudding, my protein shakes, jerky if you piss me off, but this ain't enough protein for this segment, Greg. I got an old school distillery here.
Where'd you get?
By this point, Tyrus was fully in his groove, rolling through the roast with unstoppable momentum as he compared Walz's leadership to karaoke. He knows the first verse confidently, then mumbles through the rest while hoping no one notices. Gutfeld jumped in with his own jab, saying Walz talks about tax relief the same way people talk about starting a diet. All talk, no real follow-through, and definitely no results anyone can measure. Tyrus pushed the irony even further, pointing out how the so-called working families champion keeps digging through those same families' couch cushions for spare change, treating them like endless piggy banks instead of people trying to survive. Meanwhile, schools across the state were sliding downhill like a snowstorm skidding across I-94, gaining speed with no brakes in sight. The man who once taught children about responsibility was now steering the state straight into a curriculum meltdown, leaving parents confused and students stuck in the fallout. It was a slow, messy unraveling that Tyrus highlighted with sharp precision, showing how the teacher-turned-governor seemed to forget his own lessons the moment real pressure hit.
Gotta tell you, I can't wait to debate the guy. That is, if he's willing to get off the couch and show up. So, you see what I did there? I got to tell you, pointing out just an observation of mine that I made. I just have to say it. You know it, you feel it. These guys are creepy, and yet.
Then came the law and order disaster, and Gutfeld deadpanned that it was like watching the Titanic being captained by someone who just downloaded Google Maps 5 minutes earlier. Walz kept talking about justice and reform while entire cities burned behind him, businesses disappearing faster than his approval ratings on a bad news day. Every time someone questioned him, he flashed his military background like it was a VIP pass at a concert, as if a quick mention could magically erase every mistake sitting in plain sight. Tyrus pounced instantly, saying, "Bro, this isn't Call of Duty. You don't get extra lives for flashbacks," hitting the point with comedic precision. He called Walz a mood ring politician, shifting tone depending on which political voice was whispering in his ear at the moment. One day, he sounded tough. The next day, he sounded unsure. And the day after that, he sounded like someone waiting for a committee to tell him what to feel. It was leadership by vibes, and none of them was steady enough to inspire trust when the state needed certainty the most.
Former VP nominee Tim Walz, he joined Beto O'Rourke at a Texas town hall last night, and the estrogen levels were enough to give Chuck Norris menstrual cramps. I wonder, is our strength our diversity?
Our strength is our diversity. We've been talking about this for years as a country of immigrants, and we let them define the issue on immigration. We let them define the issue on DEI, and we let them define what woke is. We got ourselves in this mess because we weren't bold enough to stand up and say, "You damn right we're proud of these policies. We're going to put them in, and we're going to execute them."
So, wait, you lost because you weren't woken.
By the finale, Tyrus tore away every layer of polished charm Walz tried to wear, leaving behind something far from Minnesota nice, more like Minnesota manufactured. The crowd was laughing, but they were nodding too because they recognized the familiar pattern, the contradictions, the posing, the endless "I'm just like you" routines that never matched reality. Gutfeld capped it perfectly by saying, "Waltz is what happens when you order authenticity from Wish," hitting the room with a punchline sharp enough to slice through the stage persona Waltz depended on. Tyrus wrapped it with one last jab, saying Waltz runs Minnesota like he's assembling IKEA furniture blindfolded, missing screws, shaky legs, but full confidence, as if enthusiasm alone could keep everything standing. Gutfeld sealed the roast with a grin sharper than a steak knife, saying Walz isn't leading Minnesota. He's babysitting it, but the kids are smarter, and the crowd erupted. It wasn't just comedy now, it had turned into catharsis. Tyrus nodded, saying Walz represents a politician who mistakes likability for leadership and thinks empathy can be scheduled like a Zoom meeting. Together, they stripped away the illusion and left the truth standing. And by the time they wrapped, Walz's reputation looked less like a legacy and more like a blooper reel buried under punchlines and political reality.